All right, thank you, Mike. And again, good morning, everybody, and thanks for spending some time with us this morning. Got a little bit of PowerPoint to help us talk through the industry toolkits, help us understand what those toolkits are. We'll have some live demo around how to how to add the toolkit into a new drawing and use existing drawings in that toolkit environment. And then I have a few AVIs that I'd like to show you that were pre-recorded that do a pretty good job of telling the story of using these toolkits. So first we'll have just a quick overview of Map 3D. I'm sure everybody here is aware of Map 3D and what it is, but it really is a bridge between the CAD and the GIS markets. It allows you to work using the powerful creation and CAD tools, but then also work in the analysis environment of GIS and move back and forth between those environments without much of a learning curve or training that needs to happen. So you can leverage your existing CAD trained workforce to do not only the CAD piece, but also the geospatial piece. So some of the new features in 2009, faster data creation, and what that means is they really streamlined a lot of the processes that goes into creating not only CAD objects, CAD entities, but also GIS data. The user interface has been streamlined quite a bit. For those of you familiar with Vista and some of the new Office products, you can work with the ribbon or you can work in the traditional menus environment. It's also Citrix ready, so those of you that have been waiting for that for some time, you can deploy Map 3D 2009 with Citrix. And then of course the industry toolkits, which the rest of today's webcast will focus around. So what are the industry toolkits? Well, there are 3 industry toolkits. There's one for the water industry, wastewater, and electric industry. They really are basically at their core a set of object classifications, which means basically a data model of real-world objects for each of those markets. That data model, again, object classifications, is in an XML format that can be easily shared with other map users. There's also a set of symbols that are predefined and come in the form of a drawing template. So be aware of that when working with these toolkits, that the drawing template is an integral piece because it has all the block and line work that these object classifications will be calling for. There's also a pretty good set of user documentation and instructional videos. So again, as I mentioned, out of the box, what do you get? You get an industry-specific data model, more or less. They can be used inside of Map 3D, and this data model again comes in the form of object data tables, as well as object classification for the actual entities. So you can easily define and apply data standards, and this integrates easily with other drawings that you might get from outside sources. So you can bring these outside source drawings together and apply these classifications and for lack of a better term, really put together a standard that you use in your department. The symbols, as I already mentioned, are also pre-configured. The symbols, each symbol is tied to an object class. This allows you to easily create maps, building in a standard, a consistency throughout your maps. Each object classification also comes with a predefined layer setting. These layer settings have a color and a line type. And keep in mind that this is all customizable. This is really a starting point, a data model that you can use in your organization. You can customize it. You can customize the layer standards. You can customize the blocks and the line work used with these object classifications. You can even customize the data tables, the object data tables that help to define these. What else do you get with the toolkits? You get some very good user documentation. There's a user's guide that walks you through the process of connecting these object classifications to existing drawings and also starting new drawings with these. There's workflow models, so you might be thinking to yourself, how do I perform a certain task? Well, there's several workflows put together, and these workflows adapt very well to other situations. You get the data model. Again, that comes in the form of an XML, an object classification file, and a drawing template. And then there are also some videos that you can watch, some instructional videos. So what are the benefits for the utilities market? Will you improve drafting productivity? New and experienced staff are both going to be up and running very quickly with these industry standards. You can define and apply standards to the drafting process, and we'll see that today in the live demo, where we can take an existing drawing and apply these standards to that existing drawing and basically morph that drawing into something that fits our standard. These data models are easily integrated. They can be used from new drawings to existing drawings to drawings that you get from outside contractors. Where engineering firms going to see the benefit, they're going to see the benefit in reduced drafting times. They're going to gain productivity that enables, by enabling clients to easily integrate their engineering and CAD data into GIS. And we'll also see that today in the live demo, where we take existing CAD entities, we classify them, and then we see how easy it is to move those into the GIS environment. So where do the industry toolkits fit? Here is a basic workflow from creating designs to adding facilities, new facilities, detail. And so where in this workflow would the industry toolkits fit? Definitely in the creation of the base map and adding existing information to in the facilities world. They're also going to fit in the drafting of new facilities, creating detail, creating material lists. They work also in the existing field users. The update design based on as-built, provide map for other groups. Seems I've added a few slides here that I wasn't prepared for. Sorry about that. So here's the Map 3D industry toolkits and then where they fit in that workflow. Drafting new facilities, definitely. Creating material lists, you'll see that once you've got your drawings moved into this object classification environment, that getting data out of those real-world data from those objects is very easy. And they provide info to other groups, so other groups like the GIS group. Moving this CAD data into that GIS environment is very easy once you've classified and maintained that data model in Map 3D. So let's see a little bit of live demo here. Let me just switch gears and jump into Map 3D. So I'm going to go ahead, and this is the basic process you might go through when you're starting brand new. So let me just start a brand new drawing here. And it's important that you use the correct drawing template because, again, that template has all the layer standards and the blocks that these object classifications are going to be looking for. So let me find my drawing templates here. There we go. And in the industry toolkits, let's start with the Wastewater Toolkit. So there's a Wastewater Toolkit drawing template. I can go ahead and start this drawing with that drawing template. And again, what does that get me? Well, it gets me a layer standard. You'll see here that we've got a layer standard. And again, very possible for this layer standard to be customized to meet the needs of any particular organization. What else do we need as part of this? We need to apply the data model, the actual XML, the object classification. So let me go ahead and attach the definition file. And here it is, the Wastewater Toolkit. I mentioned that it was in XML format. And this is easily shared across the environment. You can put this XML file out on a network location. All your users can access this and be working off the same data model. Makes it very easy for a standard to be applied across an organization. So we've got a new blank drawing here. And let's pretend that we've got some existing drawings out there that we'd like to classify using this data model. Now there are several ways you can do it, but keep in mind those drawings probably weren't started with this drawing template, so they're not going to have the blocks and the layer standards. So one way we can work with those drawings in the Map 3D environment is to attach those drawings through our attach source drawings functionality in Map 3D. So let me do that. Map 3D, no, I want to go to, here we go, documents and settings, all users. Oops. Kind of buried these drawings. Here we go. So let's add a sewer drawing, and let's add a parcel drawing. And since we've got our wastewater object classification model set up in this drawing, we're going to be able to do some work with that sewer drawing. Again, for those of you not familiar with map, this is a powerful set of map functionality here, the ability to attach drawings. You can do things like quick view these drawings, so I can get a quick look at what's in those drawings, but even more powerful is that I can query information out of these drawings, add it to this current drawing, and then work with it. Right now I'm in a quick view mode. Zoom up and you'll see we've got some parcels and we've got some sewer pipes and manholes, just what I'd expect from the two drawings that I've attached here. So if I do a regen here, that information goes away, but I can build a query that says, hey, make all this data part of my current drawing. So I'll do that. I'll just define a pretty simple query here. I'm going to take it all. I want all the information from the parcels and the sewer drawing. So we'll just let this query happen here. So there we go. We've got this query now. If I do a regen or a redraw, you'll notice that that information persists. So I've queried it, I've requested that information. It's now part of this current drawing. So let's see what we've got, particularly on this sewer data. So if I grab one of these sewer lines, take a quick look at its properties, you'll notice that it's just a general CAD object. It's a polyline. There's really no data tied to it, nothing that allows me to define this in the real world as a sewer pipe. Now, typically in the CAD environment, you might do something like put a label on it. Hey, this is a 20-inch sewer pipe, something like that. But using this data model that we've got over here, we can define these as real-world objects and build the data model out to define what this pipe really is. So for instance, this is a section. Pipes are called sections in this data model. So let me classify one of these objects. We'll see how this goes. So I'll just grab that particular object, allow it to classify it, and now when I take a look at its properties, you'll notice that it's much more than just a general polyline. There is this object class. It has a classification name. It's part of the sections. It's been moved to the correct layer, the wastewater section layer. And again, very customizable. You don't need to maintain these standards. If you decide to use these data models, you can customize the layering scheme, the blocks that are used for point symbols, so on and so forth. You also get this pretty comprehensive data model with just about every attribute you can imagine that you'd want to track for a particular sewer pipe. And this data model is very customizable, so you can do things like, let me find material in here. I know it's in here somewhere. There it is. Material, so this might be PVC, it might be concrete. What's the thickness of the walls? So again, a very comprehensive data model, and you don't need to maintain this entire data model for this to work for you. You can maintain certain pieces. You can actually trim this data model down if you choose to. It's really at its core an object data table. Exactly. Thanks, Mike. So another thing we can do here, we've got some sewer manholes. Classifying those is also uh, the same process as doing the section. So you'll see once you understand how to use this data model, it's very easy to apply it across the board, no matter whether you're working with a treatment plant, sewer pipes, manholes. Um, it's all the same process. So again, we take a look at this particular manhole. It's a block reference, okay? Does this block reference meet our standard that we've set up over here? Well, it doesn't really matter because the standard is flexible enough to use other blocks. So for instance, if I want to classify this particular block uh, as a manhole, I can choose classify objects. And there we are. Now that we've classified this, oops, I didn't want to move it. Now that we've classified to get this, again, it's been moved to the correct layer, our wastewater manhole layer. You'll notice the colors changed a little bit from the existing manholes. And again, we've got this very comprehensive data model that we can then populate with pertinent information and feed, like Mike said, downstream to users that need to access this data. So you might be thinking, what are some ways that I might use this? For instance, if you get handed a drawing like this, you want to classify all the sewer pipes, you can do things like use your quick select tools, select everything on the sewer pipes layer, and then classify those as a section, for instance. So this has just been a very quick hands-on. It shows you how to set up a new drawing, apply existing drawings to this new drawing using our ability to attach and query source drawing information, apply the data model to existing information. So let's take a quick look at, I've got 3 AVIs that I'd like to watch with you and kind of explain what's happening, and they talk through different pieces of the data model and how to use it and when to apply it in different situations and how to get different end results. So let me just minimize this for a moment. So let's start with the electric toolkit. I showed you a little bit of the wastewater toolkit. So here's the electric toolkit. Let me just run this AVI real quick here. Pause this. So we're going to start here and we're going to use the electric toolkit in this case. They've got an existing drawing already open. We're going to use the electric toolkit to standardize existing CAD data, kind of what I just showed you with the sewer pipes. But this is with an electric flavor. So let's let this play here. So we're zooming up here on an intersection where we've got some existing CAD objects. We want those CAD objects to be classified as part of our data model. So there's the electric data model applied to this drawing. Overhead conductor. So he's going to choose to classify some objects here, and then you just select that, for instance, that particular line, and as he ends the command, you'll notice that it's now been classified. Going to take a look at the data model applied to that particular line. So there it is. Again, very comprehensive, lots of information there. Populating some of the data fields with information for that particular overhead conductor. And for some reason now he goes into fast forward and classifies the 4 poles very quickly, and then classifies a street light very quickly. He's going to now select everything on the cables layer and classify it, kind of what I was talking about using the quick select. Again, I don't know why he chose to go into fast forward there, but so he did a bunch of work there pretty quickly. Now he's drafting a new overhead conductor. You can see how easily that goes. to draft new objects. It's just an option to choose to classify or to create new objects. So there's that AVI. These next two are a little bit more interesting. Let's take a look at the water AVI here. So what this AVI does is it really contrasts the differences between using general CAD functionality to create a new set of water facilities here, and then contrast that against using the object data model to build those same objects, and we see how much easier it is to use that object data model. So let's let this play here. So you'll notice that he drew a fitting there, and he needs to be aware of what layers are set current when you're using these general CAD drafting tools. What layers am I drafting on? So he's going to create a new section of water pipe here. At the end of that section of water pipe, he wants to locate a valve. So he, again, in control of what layer set current. So he sets the valve layer current, and then he needs to insert the block. He needs to know which block is the correct block to insert. A fairly manual process, and something that probably most people in the CAD environment are used to doing. So we're going to get a look here. Again, adding a new pipe. When we start to look at using the object data model to do the same type of work, you'll see how much easier it is, because you don't need to worry about current layer, what block to use. So they're kind of fast forwarding here, adding again a new section of pipe, and then fire hydrant here at this section, in control again of what layer it's on, so he needs to change the layer for that to hydrant. Again, when you look at these lines that are the water lines, they don't have any real world data on them. It is just a CAD polyline. So let's contrast that same workflow using the object data classes. So again, notice what layer is current. Layer 0 is current, but he's going to add a fitting. Doesn't really worry about what layer is set current. That fitting gets put on the right layer. Going to create some sections of pipe now. Again, not worried about whether or not he started the right command. Is it a line? Is it a polyline? What layer is set current? I'm going to add a valve here. And you'll see that little pop-up saying that the CAD properties are automatically enforced. So that's one of the beauties of using object classification, is that enforcement of CAD standards. Really the other beauty is the ability to apply real-world data to these on the fly. So again, he's going to take a look at these three pipes now drafted using the object classification. Not only do you get that CAD geometry enforced, the standards enforced, but you also get this data model built into it. So he's going to add some real-world data to this here. He's specifying manufacturer as M&H. And what does that get you? Well, now he's adding, I don't know how many of you are familiar with the task pane and the display manager, but he's going to add this layer of data to the task manager, and then he can theme and stylize that layer of data independent of its CAD properties. So he's going to use a data query here to query in all the object classes in the pipe object class that have a manufacturer equal M&H. Remember, he applied the M&H standard to those pipes. So there's that layer of data. He calls that new pipes. And now again, he can theme, he can stylize. So he's going to add a style to this that's going to override the CAD styles and allow you to stylize these things differently than the layer, the line type that are applied to them through CAD. So update that color on that style override. So you can see now how easy it is to change the display just by working with these styles, these display styles, not changing layer colors, not changing layer attributes. You can jump to model tab, or I'm sorry, paper space, and those styles exist. So very easy to put together different styles for different plot sets you want to generate from your maps without having to do a bunch of layer manipulation through AutoCAD. And again, if there are questions, I'm going to open this up for questions at the end, so please hold your questions. I see some building up there in the Q&A. I don't know if hopefully Mike is taking a look at those. One other AVI here, and then and we'll go ahead and open this up for questions, and we can hopefully talk about some of these things. So this AVI focuses again around an existing drawing, how we can classify data in this existing drawing to meet our data standards using these object classifications, and then make this, yes, go ahead. Are you still able to see it, Mike? Probably the best thing they can do is try and log back into the meeting. Okay, okay, okay. So again, this AVI is going to focus around applying this standard data model to existing objects, and then making this data ready for GIS. And we're going to actually export this out to a shapefile once we've classified these objects. So take, again, a quick look at the properties. We've got existing CAD geometry, just a polyline here that defines our sewer pipes. We've got a block that defines the manholes. Oh, really? That's going to kill my recording. Let's see, how can we do this? I don't know that it's media player that's gone. I think it's probably right. No, I'm connected via live meeting. It says I'm connected. Recording's happening. Let me remove my desktop and reshare it. Did that make a difference for you, Mike? All right, let me, are you seeing any desktop now? So maybe it is the AVI. Let me try and fire that off again. How about now? Are you seeing an AVI now? Did the other two videos work for you? Or was I talking to nothing for everybody there? Okay. Right. It's Let's see if I can play it with QuickTime and see if that makes a difference for you. Give me just a minute here to see if I can fire this up with QuickTime. Nope, it doesn't like the wave format, so QuickTime's not going to do it for me right now. So let me give it one more try here, and I'll try and minimize. Still just seeing a purple screen, Mike. Okay. So unfortunately, that last AVI is not going to work. Maybe I'll tell you what I'll do. Knowing the gist of that, let's just jump back into Map 3D, and I'm going to kind of work through that same functionality. So if you remember in Map 3D, what we had started here is we'd attached a couple of drawing files, we'd queried their information. We're working with the same data model, the wastewater data model. So a couple of things I need to do to get this ready to go to GIS is first I need to classify all of my sewer pipes. A fairly daunting task here if I need to select each one independently. Luckily for us, being savvy CAD users, we know of the quick select command. So let me just use the quick select command, select all my entities on the sewer pipes layer, and then I'll classify those as sections. I'll do the same thing with the manholes, and then we'll be able to move this data into the GIS environment. And when I say GIS, in this case, we'll go to shape. So I'm going to select based on a layer. That layer equals sewer pipes. Just let that crank away for a moment. There are 7,664 sewer pipes in this drawing, all selected now. So I can easily come over here to my section and choose classify objects. Yes, I want to classify them all. Again, let this crank away for just a moment, being that there's such a large number of objects here. This takes just a second. Again, waiting, always waiting. So based on this, maybe I'll just do the sewer pipes. I won't worry about the manholes. And then we can take these to a shapefile and then just to prove the fact that this information does actually go into shape very easily, or into any other GIS format for that matter. I'll connect to that shapefile through FDO and bring it in. We can take a quick look at it. So it's still classifying, adding lots of data to these almost 8,000 objects. So there we go, classified those. Again, we know what that means for us. I'll come back to life here. And still finishing up that command. Give it just a minute here. I suppose I should have picked a smaller data set. I didn't think I'd be going this far though. Somebody's out there's got a lot of static on their phone. Um, maybe make sure you're muted, is it, if that's you, Mike. There, that's much better. So we've classified these objects. The command is finished, although CAD is now hung up just for a minute. Again, I apologize for this. Things aren't going so well here toward the end of the demo. So there we go. Come back to life. Take a quick look at one of these sections. On the wastewater section layer, again, we've applied all our object data to them. So we've classified nearly 8,000 objects in this drawing. So the next step might be for us to move this data out to a GIS format, move this information. So I can choose to export, and I'll use the Map 3D export. Things seem to be running extremely slow. I don't know if it's a live meeting slowing down my application or what, but it's really crawling right now. Make sure I know where I'm putting this. Put it here. Let's call it sewer pipes. So add a name to the shapefile of sewer pipes. Those of you familiar with shape know that we need to pick an object type. One type of geometry can go into a shapefile, point, line, or polygon. So in this case we have linear. We can use now our object class because we did take the time to classify that. Everything in the section object class we want to go, so that should be all the pipes. We took the time to classify those. What data do we want to take with this? Again, we put the investment into object classification and object data. So if I take a look, oops, not outfall, but section. So there's all the section data. Don't want the general, that just tells me what CAD layer it was on. You may or may not want that, but what I really want is this object data table with all these real world attributes built into that data model. So that's the information I'll take. No coordinate system transformation, so let me say OK. Again, lots of objects here, so this may take just a moment to export. And with each command, I wish more and more that I would have chosen a little smaller data set for this demo. So this appears like it's going to take an extremely long time to do this. And that being the case, I'm going to let this work in the background. And while it does, I am going to finish off the PowerPoint. We'll open up for questions, and I'll monitor that. When it's done, I'll go ahead and finish that and show you how we can connect to that shapefile. So taking this another step further, we've looked at the industry toolkits and how they might fit into Map 3D. What if you want to move further up the value chain, as it's called? What are some of the other utility solutions that Autodesk offers? Just a quick slide here. So on the left in the bubbles you see a typical life cycle of an asset, whether it's a water line or a valve or a hydrant, power pole, anything like that. You design it, you build it, you operate and maintain it. So what Autodesk products fit into this group? This next slide shows us that in the design phase, you've got the usual suspects. You've got AutoCAD, you've got Map, Civil 3D, MEP. Those are the applications you really use in the design. phase. When it's time to build and operate, you need to share that information out. There's collaborative tools through project management, buzzsaw sites, design review, things like that. When it's time to maintain that data, there are applications like Map Guide that allows you to share this information with a larger audience via the internet. There's TopoBase that is really the flagship GIS asset management tool here that uses an Oracle database on the back end. There's a web piece as well as a desktop piece to this, and it allows you to not only design and build but manage that asset throughout its life cycle. Very powerful tool. I think we'll be finishing this series in webcast 4 talking almost exclusively about TopoBase, so I'll save a lot of the discussion for that fourth webcast. Some upcoming events that I want to make you aware of. There's a CAD camp coming to Portland, the Augie CAD camp. It's really like a mini Autodesk University. It's a one-day power-packed, lots of training, lots of sessions. That's October 23rd. Right now, there's a promotion through PPI that if you buy 2 registrants, you get 1 free, so you can get 3 for the price of 2, basically. So be aware of that. The CAD camp is a great way to gain skills on many different products. There are several different tracks. You can get more information off either our PPI website or the Augie website. Utilities webcast number 3, the third in this series, is going to happen October 29th. There's also a Autodesk Utilities seminar in Portland in November. All the details haven't been put together yet, but when they are, we will make sure and make those available on our website. And there's the website link at the bottom of the page here where you can see all the upcoming events and get more information about the events you see here. So I'm going to go ahead and unmute the phones right now, and we'll entertain some live questions, and hopefully that map is about done exporting to shape. So let me go ahead and unmute the phones here. So everybody should have a voice now in the conversation. Any questions out there? Okay. Who am I speaking with? Hi, Bob. Good. How are you?